To tell you guys. 3. Yo, what's going on, y'all? Welcome to libraviews. I'm Charlene. Subscribe to my channel and like this video. So, child, Kwame Brown has been giving Charlamagne, Matt Barnes, Stephen Smith, DJ Envy, Angela Yee, his mama cooking for the last couple days now, okay? The shit has been fucking crazy. I know Joe Budden somewhere sitting in the corner, biting his heel like that, thanking God that some of the smoke from last week with the JBP and Olivia Dope coming out, I might make a video about that. Olivia Dope coming out and Rory and Ma and the other girl from the other podcast and Kevin Hart and I know Joe Budden like, whew, thank God I'm gonna sweat off me. So I got some things to say about Charlamagne. You know, I ain't gonna get too deep into the whole basketball aspect of it. You know, I ain't gonna lie. I watch sports here and there, but I don't know, the deep logistics of, the Kwame Brown when he was signed at 18 and was working with Jordan and Kobe and, the disrespect that went on there. I ain't gonna speak too much on that because I don't really know. I don't really follow that too much. But what I am going to address is all this stuff that has been coming out with Matt Barnes, Stephen Smith, and then Charlamagne the God tapping in and being very, very disrespectful and, kind of throwing stones at somebody when he lives in the glass house himself. And I'm going to come back to the glass house statement in a couple of minutes. So, as most of you guys probably know, that's why you are probably here. Kwame Smith has been going off on Matt Barnes and Stephen Smith because of some of the comments that they made on their podcast about Kwame Smith Brown and how, he basically just wasn't that good of a player, etc., etc. He was disrespectful, whatever, speaking on him. Kwame Brown then responded to Matt and Stephen from what they said on their podcast. Charlamagne then takes it upon himself to go into the Breakfast Club when Angela Yee was covering the story. And he went on to expose a lot of crazy information about Kwame Brown's family. He went on to say that his dad allegedly, well, not allegedly, I think even Kwame confirmed it. His dad, murdered a woman and buried her alive, and that his brother, also, physically abused or even maybe murdered a woman as well. I mean, just all this violent shit with the males in his family. Charlamagne made it a point to say, Matt Barnes, and Stephen King. I'm sorry if I'm saying the goddamn wrong name. As you can see, I don't follow basketball too much, but I follow this shit with Charlamagne and Kwame. Stephen Smith, don't get too involved with Kwame because he crazy. I'm from Moncks Corner, South Carolina. He from Moncks Corner, South Carolina. I know the logistics. I even called my daddy to get some background information because his family is off the chain. And you don't want to mess with him because he's crazy. Like, look at his family. Now, I remember watching that episode of The Breakfast Club and being like, why would he even expose that information about him? I thought that was the most tasteless shit ever. You understand what I'm saying? Because he didn't name not one thing that Kwame himself has done, and he is a 40-year-old man. Okay, so if his father and his dad and his brother did these things years ago and he has lived his life so far and you hear nothing of the effect, I don't understand why you're putting these two together. Now, it's one thing if there's an abundance of stories out there about Kwame beating women and violently attacking people and jumping over fences to attack a guy, Matt Barnes. If there was all these crazy stories about Kwame, I would understand how Charlamagne could then make those connections, like, child, his daddy violent, his brother violent, he violent, the whole family violent. But everything that you said had nothing to do with Kwame, so I thought that was very, very tacky. And so, of course, Charlamagne was trying to play it off like, I'm trying to stick up for my brothers. I'm cool with Matt Barnes. I'm cool with Stephen Smith. I'm cool with these guys. So, y'all, I'm trying to send y'all a message. You feel me? Don't mess with Kwame because his family's crazy. When I tell you, when Kwame made his own YouTube page, I don't know if he already had his YouTube page, but he logged on or created his YouTube page and went on the World Wide Web and gave Charlamagne breakfast, lunch, and dinner a mama's cooking, okay? When I tell you Charlamagne, I'm pretty sure that nigga full. Because he been getting Kwame, mama cooking. Whew. The way that he has read Charlamagne, DJ Envy, and these guys from the Breakfast Club is absolutely insane. Now, what I will say is that the things that he said about Matt Barnes and Stephen Smith, though they are absolutely hilarious, at least it makes a little bit of sense because these guys are basketball players. Matt Barnes is a basketball player, Stephen Smith is a basketball player, and Kwame Brown is a basketball player. So even though it's getting kind of petty and Kwame Smith ain't taking his motherfucking foot off these niggas' neck, at least I understand, you know, the correlation of their beef because they're both in basketball. Charlamagne, from what I understand, you are 5'6", you have never been associated with basketball. So you even interjecting yourself and feeling like you needed to expose this information online, I don't see the correlation of that. And what I will say is that you could have even said, you know, hey, you know, I'm from the same area he's from. I've heard some crazy stories about his family. You know, if y'all brothers want to call me and talk about it, Matt Barnes and Steven, if y'all want to talk about it, I'll give you some information because I know, but I would just leave him alone. You could have just said that simple. But to really go into that man's background, I thought it was really crazy. What I also thought was crazy when Kwame Brown was reading Charlamagne ass to motherfucking filth, bringing up his past history of his sexual charges and plea deals and things like that. See, Charlamagne, the fact that you brought up Kwame Brown's brother and dad's business when you actually have things in your past was not smart at all. And what I will say, Charlamagne, is that for you to paint this guy out as such this lunatic, and he comes from this line of lunatics, clearly, according to the way you describe him, he has nothing to lose. You do. So if you know that you have been able to kind of maneuver through these charges that date back to, you know, over a decade ago in Charleston, South Carolina, or Moncks Corner, South Carolina, wherever, if you have been able to maneuver yourself out of these situations, I would shut the fuck up when it comes to anybody's legal matters, especially a nigga who you claim is a loose cannon, because clearly, according to you, the nigga ain't got shit to lose. So Kwame has really been speaking a lot about these, you know, past sexual allegations and charges and, you know, sexual things with the minor and so on and so forth. And what I find funny is that when Charlamagne was on his show with Andrew Schultz, I believe the Brilliant Idiots podcast, he was briefly speaking on the Joe Pod. Excuse me, that was the soda. My fault. When he was on his show recently, probably a week ago, a couple days ago, or whatever, he made a comment that I thought was very crazy when he was basically talking about Joe Budden and how, you know, when Joe Budden was basically talking about Charlamagne and his business deals and such, Charlamagne said, you know, you can't talk about somebody else when your shit ain't tight. You can't talk about somebody else when you live in a glass house. You can't talk about somebody else's business when you got shit that ain't right in your business.
And I mean, that's what I don't like. You know what I mean? Like, don't front. Like, don't sit there and act like things are all good if they're not. Like, you know, if you're going to get in front of a platform and you're going to call other people out on their deals and, you know, you're going to talk about what other people aren't doing in regards to business, just make sure you got your shit straight.
Right.
That's all.
I live in a glass house.
So for him to say that about Joe Budden, because how Joe Budden came at him, and then for him to turn around and do that to Kwame, I thought that wasn't smart. And another thing that wasn't smart about that, Charlamagne, is that if you say that you are from the exact same area where Kwame Brown is from, so much so that you were calling your dad to get background information because, you know, it's such a small area and you're from the same area, do you not think that Kwame may have a lot of access to this woman? Now, see, when Charlamagne beefs with Birdman or when Charlamagne beefs with different people, yes, these people can, find the girl and kind of bring her to the forefront, but they also have an image to maintain, and they also ain't from where he's from. If you're saying that you're from the same exact area where Kwame is from, that means he got cousins, aunts, this, that. You said you went to school with some of his siblings. You don't think that was kind of not smart to bring up, his dad's abusive relationship with a woman when you've had an alleged abusive relationship with a woman who happens to be from the very same small town area where the guy who you're calling out is from? Now, what is crazy is that Kelvin Hunter also came out, which this is fucking crazy too. Kelvin Hunter came out on Instagram with his box-shaped ass and says something like, basically speaking on the Charlamagne situation, because as y'all probably know, Kelvin, Wendy Williams' ex-husband, and Charlamagne don't get along. But another thing that's crazy is that Kelvin's baby mom, who he cheated on Wendy with, who he had been cheating on her for years with and had a baby with, is also from the same area that Charlamagne is from. So you really might not really want to ruffle the feathers with niggas that can really come out and expose some shit. What I will say is that Charlamagne is, like Kwame said, clearly highly protected by, the entity of like entertainment or whatever. He's worth a lot of money. He had, he's made corporations, book companies, radio stations, entities, a lot of money. So I think that they will protect him. But he better be very goddamn motherfucking careful. That's all I got to say. And back to the whole Charlamagne thing, I think it was very disrespectful for you to bring out, his family's information, because even Kwame said, my 16-year-old son hadn't even heard, the history about that. Just was so tasteless, Charlamagne. And honestly, I'm so 100% with Kwame on this situation. For you to be so pro-black and for you to be so this and for you to be so that. That was so low down for you to bring up that guy's family's past. I could see if it was charges that had something to do with him, but his family's past, that was so low down. And Kwame is absolutely 100% right. You were trying to assassinate that guy's character. I don't know, you got, maybe it's some type of linked up that y'all got with the podcasting thing and the, radio thing or whatever. And you're like, I'm gonna link up and kind of, shut Kwame up, but you clearly ain't shutting him up. You know what I'm saying? Kwame is out there and he's fucking hilarious. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, I just thought that was tasteless. But Charlamagne, you better shut the fuck up. You feel me? All that other shit that he said about DJ Envy, Matt Barnes, Stephen King, I agree with 99% of what he was saying about them. But again, they were talking more on a basketball thing. They was clowning his basketball thing, his history with Jordan. And then Kwame responded again. I don't know too much about, basketball. And it's so crazy how, motherfuckers, can I just say this? It's so crazy how motherfuckers will ride for Michael Jordan so hard and talk so highly of Michael Jordan. But when motherfuckers is out in the goddamn streets getting killed and stabbed over buying the shoes that his name is on, he never steps up for the black community. But yet, y'all motherfuckers will call out Kwame, who allegedly was, like I said, I don't know too much about it, but from what I understand, was bullied by Michael Jordan. And instead of, somewhat kind of having a camaraderie, I don't know if I'm saying that word right, but having some type of unity, you called out Kwame and not saying anything about Michael Jordan, when clearly Michael Jordan don't give a fuck about nobody but his motherfucking self, his goddamn big bean, head-shaped ass. You know what I'm saying? So speak out on Michael Jordan too. That nigga ain't motherfucking perfect. He don't speak out on the black community. When people are out here hustling, selling drugs, doing this just so they can afford the $200 shoes that's on their feet. When you, a man of wealth, can really speak out, and you being such an idol, these kids and these men will really listen to you, but you've never done that. So Matt Barnes, it's fucked up that if you was going to say something about Kwame, you should have said something about Jordan too, but you wouldn't do that. Because y'all niggas, like Kwame said, is really some bitch-ass niggas, okay? And I know y'all motherfuckers is goddamn full off of his mama cooking. Because one thing about mama cooking is that it touches the soul, and that shit will put you in your ass, honey, when you got some good mama cooking. So sit your ass down, let that food marinate all up in your stomach, and think about what the fuck you doing. And Charlamagne, stop speaking on other people and try to bring up people past and trying to make people look bad when you got a lot of skeletons in your closet as well. Not saying that people can elevate, and well, I'll say this before I get out of here. Not saying that people can elevate. You understand what I'm saying? Charlamagne, I believe, is upwards to 40. when this situation happened, allegedly, he was in his very early 20s. You know what I'm saying? Though it's not right, and I don't condone it, I'm also not stupid enough to not understand that we're all in flesh and we're all human and we all do things and we all have brains and they develop and they grow over time. You understand what I'm saying? So if Charlamagne, if you want the same respect of people not bringing up your past that happened years ago because you have grown as a person, you should have never brought up what Kwame's parents did years ago that has nothing to do with them. Stop sending ceases and desists if you don't want your business that happened years ago, because you don't want that to be a reflection of you. Don't bring up Kwame's family background that has nothing to do with him to try to make him look bad if you don't want that done to you. Okay, that's like me. Both of my parents, they have an extensive history with drugs. I've never used drugs a day in my goddamn life. I've never popped a Molly pill, an ecstasy pill, shrooms, perg, coke, crack, heroin, meth, none of that. Only thing I ever tried was weed, and I drink. Okay, so I don't do none of that. So again, it would be weird if somebody be like, child, well, look how she acted. Her mama was a junkie. Her daddy was a junkie. And I never done a drug a day in my goddamn life. So what the fuck that got to do with me? You see this right here? That's a goddamn degree. You want to know something? I'm the first person on my dad's side to ever obtain a bachelor's of science from a university. Okay? So it would be ignorant, like Kwame, who was gone to, the NBA, even though he comes from a crazy family. I would dare somebody to say, well, she ain't shit because, or whatever. Beware of her, because both of her she probably steal, because both of her goddamn parents is junkies, child. Junkies, they be stealing, so beware of her. How dare you? That's was really fucked up, Charlamagne. That was really fucked up. So anyway, I follow Kwame on Instagram. He has made a fan out of me. He is funny as fuck. Honestly, Matt Barnes, you really is not that motherfucking exciting. You feel me? So leave Kwame alone, because he might take your job. Because, I would never sit and listen to every single live that Kwame did. I listened to it. He is very articulate. He's honestly very smart. He articulates and enunciates his words and his points extremely well. You know what I'm saying? So Charlamagne and Matt and Stephen, another thing too before I get out of here, the audacity for you to try to sit up here and come for Kwame, child, I ain't even gonna get on Stephen. I ain't even gonna get on you, but y'all really, I'm team Kwame on this one, okay? Thank you for tuning into this video. Please subscribe. I'm trying to get to 1,000K subscribers. Please help me out. It's free. Like, it literally costs you nothing. Hit the button. Until next time, I'll talk to y'all later.